Have you ever had so much content that you need to cover, but the time and space you have is limited? If so, you may want to consider using the flipped classroom approach and podcasting. The flipped classroom is a pedagogical technique used by professors to maximize the time in class they have with their students and the questions the students have about the content. To facilitate this, professors are using podcasting as a way for students to experience their lectures outside of class. In the past, podcasting was a time-consuming process involving many different technologies. Today, podcasting is as easy as simply downloading an app to your smart device. There are several podcasting apps that are available that work with your smart device. The one I will demonstrate is Anchor, and I will be using my iPhone 12. Okay, so now I've launched the app. If you click on Discover, you will find other podcasts. For us though, we are going to click Tools. You will notice on the bottom are several icons. Let's swipe left and go to Music, which is Spotify. The next tool, Voice Messages, allows you to share a link with your students so they can ask questions. Next is Interludes and Sounds. Sounds are snippets you can add to your podcast. Interludes and sounds can be used to jazz up your podcast. Here I've chosen Balti as my intro and I can preview it. Okay, I really like that. I'm going to add that interlude to the episode by pushing the add button. Now we are ready to begin our podcast, and so I am going to push the record button here at the bottom. So this is how you will record your podcast. And as you can see, as I'm talking, the wave goes up and down, and you will see that if I adjust my volume, if I talk like this, it gets low. And if I talk like this, it gets real high. So you want to find that good medium where you're right there in the middle. Okay, so now I am finished recording, and so I am going to give this episode a name. So I'm going to call it episode number 2, but you can name it whatever you want. You can name it the title of your lecture or whatever. And now it's going to ask me if I'm ready to publish, and I am. So I'm going to hit yes, I'm ready to publish. As she is processing here, this will allow me to put a more detailed description about what the episode is about, so I can add that so students will know what they're getting into. And now that I have added the description and everything, I'm going to hit process one more time, and voila, there we are. Before we wrap up this training, there are a few things we need to keep in mind. First, you cannot monetize your podcast. Remember that your podcast belongs to the university. Second, have your podcast scripted out. Don't wing it. Have your PowerPoints in front of you, some of the things that you would have in your lecture, so that way you're able to give the full experience to your students. So that way it would be as if they were in the lecture hall with you when you do your podcast. 3, music is not allowed unless you have a license for it. Don't pirate someone's work. Make sure that you have a license and that that license is fully visible at the end of the podcast. 4, make your link available in Canvas for your students. And lastly, your podcast still has to be 508 compliant. You need to put subtitles in there or have a script available for students who are hearing impaired. Thank you for watching the tech tip about the flipped classroom and podcasting presented by the Office of Academic Technology, Piedmont University. All music used is under license with the Office of Academic Technology and/or its staff.